Hey guys, welcome back to Free Drop Live. Delighted today to be joined by Sunshine Tour player Carl Barker, and this is an interview I've been looking forward to for quite a while. There's a quick story behind that. So, as most of you know, well, hopefully most of you know, Carl was on Sunshine Tour Weekly sometime last year, and I was just watching as I do most weeks, and he said, "Yeah, and this is something along the lines of, and this is a lucky marker I got from my girlfriend Savannah Wesley, which I thought was quite sick that he gave his girlfriend a shout out." I was contemplating whether to actually bring it up, and then I just wanted to make sure that they were actually still an item. So that's good to know. But yeah, I thought it was very 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 sick that that Carl gave her a bit of a shout out. So Savannah, if you're watching, hope you enjoy it. But yeah, Carl, how have you been spending the time since lockdown was sort of lifted slightly?
I've been playing golf almost every day since lockdown has come to an end. But during lockdown was actually very interesting for me. I did a lot of work with my coach Neil Cheetham.
Okay.
We did so many online sessions on WhatsApp, just working on technical stuff, measuring setup, measuring positions in the golf swing. A lot of work went into lockdown.
Yeah.
During lockdown. So yeah, I feel like I've improved a hell of a lot coming out of lockdown now and playing golf. I'm shooting great scores at the moment, actually.
And is it quite weird having to make that adjustment to sort of remote coaching? I mean, it's pretty weird. It's not something
It's a
you do every
huge
day.
adjustment. I mean, but I feel like it's actually going to help me in the long run because I never used to communicate with my coaches, online,
Yeah.
even while I'm away on tour and that. So now I feel like I've got that platform now to use with my coach if anything goes wrong during a tournament.
Yeah.
Contact him and use that platform, which is actually it's an exciting thing actually.
And how long have you guys been working together for?
Cheats and I have been together for 7 years. It's quite a
Oh,
long
okay.
time since I was about 15 years old.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm
So I suppose
22 now, so
you've
yeah,
probably
7
got
years.
quite a good understanding of the way you both work, and I suppose the results definitely come a bit faster than if the relationship was slightly sort of newer.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like I can speak to Neil about anything, not just golf related,
Yeah.
anything. And I look up to him as a person as well, and the life he lives, and such a good family man as well. So I look up to him for that. And yeah, I look at him as like my golfing father, father figure in the golfing world, and
Yeah.
I speak to him about everything. So yeah,
That's super cool, dude.
yeah,
Because yeah, I mean, it makes such a difference when when your coach actually shows an interest in you as a person rather than just you as a player.
100%. Because I feel like if a coach knows you as a person, he can explain what he's trying to get across to you in different ways as well. It's more dynamic. It's not just a set thing that he just tells everyone to do. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
He can it's flexible and he can explain it to you in a different way that you might understand.
Yeah. No, that's epic. But as you said before we got going, you got a bit of limited time due to ESCOM being up to their old tricks again. So we'll get into the questions. So would you mind just sort of providing a bit of insight into your upbringing and like the sports you played growing up? I read on your solo management profile that you're a multi-talented sportsman. So would you mind providing a bit of insight into that?
Well, golf was never my main sport when I was young. Um, excuse me. I played cricket, tennis, rugby. I was a great athlete as well. Did a lot of cross country and sprints and all of those things. But my main sport was cricket up until the age
Okay.
of about 12. Then when I turned, when I was 12 years old in grade 6, I went for Gauteng trials to try get into the Gauteng team for cricket, and I didn't make it due to a lot of political stuff and that. So that day I decided, I remember I was walking back to the car with my dad, trailing my cricket bag behind me, picked it up and threw it in the boot, and I said, I'm never playing this game again.
Jeez.
And then while we're on the way home, my dad's like, so what are you going to do now? And I said, well, I want to play golf. And golf was always part of my life up until that point. But it was always a very social thing. Always played with my dad and his mates and some of my mates. And I always enjoyed and loved the game. But that was the day when I decided I want to play golf as a professional one day.
Sure, that's wild. But
yeah,
what is it like sort of having to come to terms with the fact that, you know, politics and things like that were even a factor in under 13 cricket?
Well,
like, it must be bizarre.
As a 12-year-old kid, it's hard to understand and comprehend why you didn't make the team, you know. But I'm getting a call, just decline that. It's hard to comprehend as a 12-year-old why you didn't make the team, and unfortunately, you know, politics and that, it does play a factor even in school. So it was a tough pill to swallow at that age. But my second love was golf, and I figured, hey, let's give it a shot. 2 months after that day, I was put into a boarding school in George, a golf school there called Kanako.
Okay. Oh yes,
and, Roger Vessels is the coach there, and Ron Boone runs the whole facility and everything. And that was the turning point in my my life. Actually, I grew up very quickly and started to love golf and became pretty good at the game as well.
Yeah, I was actually, again, taking a look at your solo profile. And I mean, you played provincial golf pretty much at every level, I think, under 15, 17, 19, and open as well.
That's right.
I mean, what would you attribute that sort of, without trying to be, like, overblow it or whatever, like a meteoric rise like that, what would you attribute that to? Just sort of being 100% focused on golf and having those facilities at your disposal?
100%. It's all, you know, knowing that golf is what I want to do one day for a living. At that point, I didn't know I was going to turn pro so early, because we'll get to that later. But yeah, I just you know, chose golf, and I feel like that's the road that I've been on for a while now.
Yeah, and I suppose, I mean, if you again go back to the cricket, were you a batsman or a bowler?
I was an all-rounder, actually. I was a pretty good batsman. I think I came in at number 4. So after 2 wickets fell, and I was in. Pretty good pace bowler, and I was actually a better fieldsman than anything else. I was really good fieldsman.
Where did you field?
Point.
Cheaper. So you clearly quite you've got cat-like reflexes.
Yeah, my reflexes are pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because obviously golf is such an individual sport, and you know, if you play a loose shot in the middle, whatever, that could be your innings over. And if you, I mean, again, you can bowl an absolute peach of a delivery and have a fielder spill it, and then that's actually nothing. It's not on you; it's on them. Yeah. Whereas golf is 100% individual, which is a vibe. And did you enjoy that aspect of being able to take responsibility for what happened and effectively having things in your own hands?
In a massive way, Craig. I mean, I feel not just in golf and in sport, but in life, I feel like as soon as you start taking accountability for everything that you're doing, even if it's not necessarily your fault, just take accountability for it. I feel like you grow so much as a person, and you can learn a lot in a very short space of time.
So I mean, when did you start to see like really sort of impressive results, either in an individual, well, I suppose, individually, like in tournaments and stuff, and then also like when did you start making those provincial sides?
look, I wasn't the greatest junior golfer in that. Like, I never saw great results. I never really won like national order of merits tournaments. I didn't win Glacier series events. I just I won a club champs, a junior club
Okay.
champs at Ram Park.
Okay.
And I think I shot 4 under for the 36 holes, and I was very competitive, and that was my first win, and I thought, okay, great. I mean, I played great today, and I ended up winning. But that didn't carry on for very long. I sort of gradually started getting better and better. I never just came out of the blocks shooting low scores like some guys, did at a young age. Um, I've just gradually gotten better over time, and playing the under 15, 17, 19s. Even then, I wasn't number one. I almost like just made the team, sort of thing, like a captain's pick, or
Yeah.
I was number 5 or 6 on the order of merit. So I just got in, and still, even, I mean, to today, I don't feel like I'm playing at my full potential just yet. I feel like that time's coming. So yeah, it's just been a gradual progression of environments and tournament golf.
But I suppose, again, like I say it to a few guys that I've interviewed, but that gradual progression in a way is probably more sustainable than like sudden bursts of success where you may you may find yourself completely out of your depth too early on. So in a way, like, are you grateful for the fact that it's been steadier but still very, very consistent?
Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, I feel like, if you got the patience to be the steady climber, then at the end of the day, I think you'll be a better player than the guy that just comes out the blocks hot with all his talent. And
Sure.
you know what I'm saying? I feel like the hard work and all the experiences, all the heartache from not always succeeding. I feel like, obviously when you do succeed, you're much more grateful for it. The gratitude is massive, and you start to understand how lucky you are to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. And yeah, just sort of chatting about those weeks at those interprovincials. I mean, what are your fondest memories? Is there a particular game that you remember with fondness because either you played particularly well or something funny happened or whatever? I mean, what are your biggest takeaways from those experiences?
Well, my greatest memories are always with Andy Trulak and Yaku Duplessis, the managers that used to manage our teams. They were just the greatest couple of guys that you'll ever meet, and just the leadership skills that they showed us, and we had mottos, never dead, and keep going, keep pushing forward, no matter what happens. If you make a quadruple, if you make a birdie, whatever, just carry on going. But yeah, those two guys, I really look up to them, and yeah, those were my fondest memories, were spending time with them. But the match that I remember, not necessarily a positive memory, but in the Premier IPT at Fish River, I think it was 2016. No, 2017. No, 2016. I played against Andre Null, who's also actually part of the solo
Yes,
group at the moment.
Yeah.
I played against him, and he beat me 10-8. So we shook hands on the 10th hole. He beat me. He won every single hole, bro, and I was distraught after that.
No, I was going to say, was that a function of him just like blitzing around the front nine and the 10th, or was it a bit of a combination of him playing well and you maybe being a bit off your game?
That's exactly what it was. I think he was like 2 or 3 under par, and I was like 5 or 6 over after 10, and
I see.
he hammered me.
Okay.
And the wind was blowing and everything. I've never seen someone play like that in the wind. To be honest, it was spectacular.
That's wild, dude. And then, I
Yeah.
mean, at what point in the week did that occur? And were you able to sort of bounce back later on in the week, or?
I think that was the last day. That was the last day. So, I mean, after that, I think him and I went to the clubhouse and we started cracking open a couple beers, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the last day, and he absolutely hammer smashed me.
I mean, but again, what you said now sort of speaks to the camaraderie that that exists between teams at the Interprofs and stuff. That you are able to like have a laugh about it, have a couple drinks, and just sort of move on pretty quickly.
100%.
Yeah, but I'm super curious. At what point did you start thinking about giving professional golf a go? Because I mean, I think you turned pro at 18 or something, which was 2016.
2016, 100%.
Yeah.
So it was a couple months after that day that Andre beat me so badly. The end of that year, I was meant to go overseas to the States. I had a full scholarship with Arkansas State University.
Oh,
and I was all locked and loaded, ready to go. And I think it was about 3 weeks or a month before I was meant to go over. I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, I know all this work that you and I have put in for me to get over there and use golf to get a degree and everything. But to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to work. I mean, I'm not the greatest academic. I hate studying, to be honest with you. I really do.
Don't we all?
Yeah, well, some people freaking love it, dude. I don't know how.
No, they don't quite get it, eh?
But straight after that, I was like, Dad, I mean, during that same conversation, I was like, Dad, I think I'm going to turn pro. He's like, are you freaking mad, dude? Like, you've got the greatest opportunity now. You've got a free ride overseas to go and study for 4 years, gain experience over there, play tournament golf overseas, and come back and turn pro and see how your game is. I said, Dad, there's not a chance I'm going to do that. I feel a calling to start my career now and to start learning the ropes and to really focus on my game, give it 100%. I mean, there'll always be time for me after if I don't make it, big. There's always time to go study after. I mean, sometimes you got to take a couple steps back. But I feel like I needed to give golf 100% of my heart and soul. Yeah. And I've been doing that for the last 3 years, and it's been pretty good to me so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, the whole college debate about whether to go, whether not to go. I mean, I've interviewed quite a few players, actually a couple of them who have gone to Arkansas, and it's not for everyone. That whole college experience, it's not. I mean, yeah, like I'm sure there are a couple of people like yourself who maybe wonder, oh, well, obviously you don't, but I'm sure there are people who wonder, oh, well, should I've gone across instead of taking the leap? But at the end of the day, like, you've got to do what's right for you rather than what is perceived to be like the norm or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why my dad was so shocked when I told him, like, because he guides me and he manages me and he helps me a lot with the decisions that I make. And this one was like totally out of the blue. I just went to him one day. I was like, Dad, I'm not going to go anymore. I'm going to turn pro, and I want to start my career now.
Yeah, but it's also a vibe that you were able to have that clarity and that sort of level of maturity at that age. Like, that's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I look back at it now and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I had the balls to do that.
Yeah.
Because I would be done studying now, and I would have come back and try to play on the Sunshine Tour now, or Big Easy or IGT. But no one knows. I mean, the relationship I built with my coach over the last 4 years, being at home, playing golf here has been unbelievable, and the amount that I've improved is just is dramatic. So
yeah,
it was a good move, I think.
Yeah, so obviously you're a big fan of taking the the road less traveled. So tell me about. Well, actually, no. Let's go to Q School first. Your first trip to Q School, and then we can get to your little foray into the UAE a bit later.
Okay. My first trip to Q School was end of 2017.
Okay.
It was first stage at Killarney Country Club, and I shot 24 over par in 4 rounds, and I completely missed the mark. I mean, I think the cut to get into second stage was plus 17. I mean, the course was playing really tough, but
yeah.
still to shoot 24 over par around a course in Johannesburg, I mean, that I know is not great. But what I learned from that experience was, not to take golf too seriously, and especially the week of a Q School. I mean, it's so easy to think, oh my word, this every shot means something more. And if I don't do this well, then I'm not going to get my card. I have to wait a whole another year to go to Q School and go to try get your card. But yeah, that was the first experience for me, which was actually heartbreaking because I thought I was ready. But I learned a lot from that week, from that experience.
But again, like I'm sure you were telling yourself, like at the time, like you must have been 19 or whatever. It's like it's not the end of the world. There's so many other opportunities down the road, and then how did the decision to go and play the Mena Tour in I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but in the UAE, how did that come about?
Oh, it's actually a crazy story, eh? Well, first, I think that was in 2018, end of 2018 or 2000. I can't even remember, but I think it was about 3.5 years ago. So, geez, I'm not quite sure. I think it was 2017. But I played a whole year on the IGT and Big Easy, and I played a lot with a guy by the name of John McLean.
Okay.
Very lovely guy, and we started to become good mates because we played a lot together on the IGT and everything. And he said to me, "Carl, listen, in a couple months we're going to be going down to some of us are going to be going up to the Mena Tour to play in the Middle East. Would you be keen to come play 3 tournaments with us?" I was like, flipping hell, of course, that sounds incredible. But to cut a long story short, no one else ended up going except for myself and my caddy, who at the time was caddying for me. His name's Darren Warner, awesome oak. And yeah, we ended up going. I think it was in August, September. I think it was in September of 2017. And that's how we got there. So yeah,
that's wild. And have I got it correct that you actually had a bit of success and you actually won an event on the tour? Is that right?
Yes, I did. I won the 3rd event. I won the last event that we played over there. We played 3 events. I won the last event there at Yas Links in Abu Dhabi.
Geez, what was that? I suppose that must have been quite cool validation that it sort of vindicated your decision to sort of forego college and actually take the leap into the pro ranks a bit.
Yes, 100%. I mean, well, those 3 weeks were one of the toughest 3 weeks of my life. My caddy and I went over there, and one of my old friends from South Africa, he moved over there, and he lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Motor City in Dubai. So we called him and we're like, "Hey, Dol, can we stay with you? Can my caddy and I stay with you for the 3 weeks while we're over there?" He's like, "Sure, you guys come over, make yourselves at home, and have a good time, sort of thing." So we get there, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment that he's staying in, with 1 couch. So Joel, obviously, it's his house, so he's staying in his room on his bed. My caddy and I, my 45-year-old caddy and I, had to sleep on the couch. We shared the couch for 3 weeks. So after the first tournament, I think we made the cut on the number and ended up playing the third round. I think we ended up coming like 28th or something in the event, which was decent. Second tournament, we missed the cut by 1 shot, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I had to wait like a whole week and a bit to play the last tournament, just doing nothing. Everything's so expensive there. You can't go hit balls on the range. It costs you $200 every time you hit balls on the range. So we were just lying on the couch for like a week and a half, dude, just doing nothing in Dubai, like stuck there, waiting for the last tournament. So by the time the last event came, I was so over it, just ready to come home. And something just clicked the day before the tournament. We went for a practice round, played with some cool guys from Spain. And something just clicked on the range that evening before the first round of the event. And I just ended up having a blinder of a week. So, yeah, I ended up winning that tournament, which was pretty cool. Came home with a trophy.
Yeah, were you overweight with your luggage on the way back?
No, I wasn't. It's not the biggest trophy. The trophy, the floating trophy was pretty big, but the nice little trophy they gave me to take home wasn't that big. So, and plus I kept it on my lap the whole flight so everyone could see it. Sort of thing.
Yeah, that's epic, dude. But we've got a comment from fellow tour player Dylan Naidu, also a former podcast guest. He says, "Unreal golf course. What about Yas Links is in your eyes is so cool?"
Wow. Well, thanks, Dol, for that question, bud. Missing you, champ. Can't wait to see you again. The finishing holes on Yas Links are just unbelievable. 16, 17, 18, great holes, great finishing holes. And also, the way that I finished, I finished bogey, birdie, to win by 2 shots, fortunately. But the way that it happened was just so memorable for me. That moment for me on that 17th hole, I had like a 50-foot putt to go 13 under par and to tie the lead with the oak I was playing with, by the guy by the name of Todd Clements, who is actually a great player, and he's on the Challenge Tour now today. And I actually hold that 50-foot putt, and I remember thinking, geez, like, okay, I've got the grit to play this game. Stepped up on hole 18 and I freaking ripped a high cut off of the ocean, landed middle fairway, and made a great birdie from there, and ended up winning by 2. And I was like, okay, well, I know I can play this game well, and I know that when I'm hot, then a lot of guys are going to struggle to beat me if I'm playing that way.
Yeah, that's epic, dude. And then I'm sure that sort of confidence just translated into Q School the second time round.
Yes, and funny story, second time round at Q School, 2018, got into second stage through Big Easy. I came, I think, 15th on the order of merit, and top 30 gets into the final stage at Ram Park. Get there, and I'm playing with Todd Clements, the same guy that I played, played with in Dubai a year prior to that. 2 years, a year prior to that. And I ended up shooting 79 the first round at Ram Park. I think I even missed the cut during the final stage. So that was devastating for me. Not getting my card the second time round, and now, I know I'm ready to play, but I just didn't. It just wasn't my week. So that was an even harder pill to swallow. But it taught me a lot of good things about myself. Taught me that I'm actually a very patient person, and I didn't win on the Big Easy yet, so that was a goal for me. Didn't end up winning on on the Big Easy that year. But I got pretty close, and I realized, maybe 1 year on the Big Easy in IGT, one more year is not a bad thing to prepare me for the next year on the Sunshine Tour.
Sure. And again, it's that sort of gradual sort of progression rather than too much too soon.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm looking at it as a positive, because I every time, I see a pattern within my game and my success. It looks like every third time I do something, I succeed. Like Sunshine Q School took me 3 years to get onto the tour. It took me 3 years to almost to win on the Big Easy Tour, sort of thing. So I feel like, I've had my first year on the Sunshine Tour. My plan now, my goals are to go to Japan.
Okay.
Whenever the Q School is going to be posted on the schedule, I'll definitely be going to Japan. But I mean, I don't have any expectations, because it feels like, whatever happens, and if it's meant to be, great, it'll happen. So I just need to, stay patient, and I think some good things will happen.
Out of interest, what about Japan appeals to you?
I like the culture there. Well, I've never been there, but I've heard that people there are unbelievable, and they're so friendly.
Yeah.
I heard from some people that it's very easy to travel in Japan. You just catch a train to your next event, bullet train. It takes you 4 hours to get from one side of the island to the other side of the island on a train. So that for me is a big up. It's also a very lucrative tour. Not a lot of players, but there's a lot of cash to be played for there. And I think maybe if we can find some success there, then we can move on to a European or PGA Tour after that.
But just sort of going into your rookie season a bit. You finished tied 7th on in final stage. I mean, what was that relief like to know you'd finally secured your card for the following season?
Yeah, so it was a massive relief. But I learned from the last 2 times I went to the Sunshine Q School. I learned that I just got to take it as another IGT or Big Easy event. I mean, I've been top 10ing it the whole year. Same players. I know the golf course Houghton really well. So just go and play it as an IGT and have fun with your mates like you normally do, and try win, So I ended up doing that, and was one of the easiest top 10s I've ever made. So it's all about looking at a situation in a different way, and sort of making it your own, instead of taking all this weight on your shoulders, trying to now handle the pressure. It's impossible to do that.
Yeah, and when you say sort of the third time round, you knew what to expect, and you knew how to deal with the potential low points, so it sort of freed you up mentally, and you just went out and sort of freewheeled a bit.
100%. And I feel like I haven't won many tournaments, but I feel like all the tournaments that I have won, be it on IGT, Big Easy, or Mena Tour, whatever, I feel like I've just let go of everything and just freewheeled it. Just take it as a walk in the park and enjoy it. That's why we're there.
Yeah. So you clearly were freewheeling at that first round of the Sun City Challenge at Sun City obviously, but like I think you shot 66 and were leading by 2, I think, after the first round. Again, what was it like? Again, a completely novel experience for you on the Sunshine Tour stage. Sleeping on a lead. What was that night like, and what was your preparation like heading into round 2?
Well, the preparation always stays the same, but I found myself thinking things that probably I shouldn't be thinking. getting ahead of yourself is not always a good thing. Leading a tournament also, it was the first time that I've led a Sunshine Tour event after round one, so that was a new situation for me. But it was nice to play so well at a course that I grew up watching the Netbank Golf Challenge, watching my favorite players in the world do well and win on. I mean, and then to go there and shoot, a blind of a score was fantastic as well. But yeah, no, the preparation definitely stays the same. Went and had dinner with my family and my mate, Dave McIntyre, who I travel with. And we just, took it as a normal night. But I was definitely thinking a bit too much about the next 2 days, which I shouldn't have.
Yeah, but again, I suppose that, I'm sure you sort of, in a way, you probably gained quite a bit of experience from that, and it'll definitely stand you in good stead the next time you have the lead. But what is it like, seeing the success that someone like Garrick has had? I mean, I think he actually won that event. But what is it like seeing the success that he's had as a rookie, and knowing that in the next year or two that could also be your time, and you could also finish whatever he finished, like 6th or 4th on the order of merit?
Him, he finished 4th. Flipping out. I mean, it's incredible to watch what Garrick has done. Grew up playing a lot of golf with him. And I feel like when we were juniors, we were on the same level. There were some guys that were just hammering us every week. And I feel like he's been a steady streamer, steady climber. And now, I mean, he's matured so much. I feel like, wow, when I look at him as a person and a player, he's totally different to how I saw him about 4 years ago when we were still juniors. And I never thought, I'd say this, but I look up to him a lot, even though he's like 2 years younger than me. I look up to him, the person that he is and the golfer that he is, and how quickly he's matured into the game and found his feet on the tour. 2 wins in 1 year on your rookie season is massive. And to win the Tour Champs with all those, the very strong field, very, very strong field, to show that type of courage and grit was unbelievable to watch. So I feel like, watching him do that, I feel like I know for a fact I'm going to be doing that as well one day.
And he's so chilled about it as well. I mean, when that putt dropped on 18 at the Tour Champs, he was like, cool, shook. I think he was playing with Hayden Porteous. He just shook his hand and didn't really sort of show much emotion, which that was really impressive to watch. But obviously, this isn't the Garrick Higo show, so we're going to get back to your story a bit. Obviously, I think, when was it? 4 or 5 weeks after that Sun City event, you won on the IGT, and then a month later won again. Again, what would you attribute those, like, that sort of run of form to? Was there any part of your game that sort of fell into place?
Well, they were actually big easy tour events, which is like not much different than IGT. Not much different, but there are world ranking points to be played for, and I thoroughly enjoyed, picking up a couple world ranking points during that good time of play. But my caddy, my ex caddy now, his name was Tabo, and we had such a good groove going, and our rhythm together was fantastic, and we just found means and ways to win tournaments. I mean, when you can't really explain it. When everything's going well, it just it doesn't seem like it's going to end. So you just carry on pushing forward and see how many good tournaments and good weeks you can have in a row. Sort of thing. And we just ended up winning 2 big easy tour events, which was quite nice.
And from an economic standpoint, I mean, winning like $8,000, $10,000, or whatever, how far does that go in terms of covering expenses in the coming weeks?
It helps out a lot. Of course it does. I mean, it's better than nothing. Sure. And the 8-10 grand, coming 30th or 25th in a winter tour event can really help you push forward for the next couple events. And not just that, I mean, that 8-10 grand could be the difference between 51st position and 50th position on the order of merit, sort of thing, if you're having an average year. So everything adds up, at the end of the day. And whatever you can take, you just gotta take,
Yeah. What are the biggest lessons you learned from that first season on tour?
What are the biggest lessons that I've learned? Traveling was a big one.
Okay.
Finding the right people to travel with. Also the guys that you spend time with, also they need to lift you up. A couple groups on the Sunshine Tour that you don't necessarily want to be associating yourself with. So you got to find your groove and stick to it. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. And also to realize that this is a stepping stone. This is not the be all and end all. We need to push forward from here and have a big mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Who do you generally travel with and play practice rounds with?
Dave McIntyre is one of my good mates. He's dating my sister at the moment, so he I see him often. He's like a brother to me, and we travel together as well. But play practice rounds with whoever. I like to actually go out by myself and work out the course by myself. 9 holes, 18 holes, just my caddy and myself, and we get a good process and a good plan for that week.
And do you ever pick the brains of like sort of guys that have been out on tour for a bit longer? I mean, I know someone like Rourke van der Spey is also part of Solo, and I think he's been on tour for 4 or 5 years now. I mean, do you ever play practice rounds with older guys who can, lend a bit more sort of course knowledge to you?
Not really, no. I mean, you sort of hear what the guys speak about here and there on the practice greens and that about the course. Maybe there's a different line on the tee box where you didn't necessarily see, but other oaks are going that route because it sets you up easier for that specific pin or whatever. But otherwise, no. I like to get out on the course by myself and my caddy and work out a nice game plan that fits my style of play and my game.
Sure. And you finished 56th on the order of merit, and that's sort of like, I mean, on the one hand, you kept your card comfortably, but didn't quite crack the top 50. So what does that mean for your scheduling going forward when the season does eventually start again?
I should, in terms of scheduling, as in like getting into tournaments, or I should get into most events. I mean, before this whole COVID thing came up, we were meant to play our first event at Swaziland, and that's a pretty limited field. I think there's only about 70 or 80 guys in that field, and my name, I was the last guy in that field. So I would have got into most of the tournaments this year. But in terms of mindset, coming 56th, it hurt a bit. It kind of stung a bit because my goal was to get top 50. But then you got to look at it another way again and kind of learn from the mindset mistake that I had coming into my rookie year, because my goal was just top 50. I got close to the goal, but I didn't exactly reach the goal. So why don't we shift those goalposts for the following season and let's try win the order of merit, or try and come top 10 on the order of merit. Therefore, you're gonna break that top 50 much easier, and you're gonna try push for that top 10 order of merit goal, or to try win the order of merit. So I feel like that was the mistake I made going into my rookie year, definitely.
Yeah, but again, as you've shown so many times before, like, it doesn't really matter if you don't quite get it right the first time. There's so many more opportunities down the road.
100%. And if you got the patience and the grit and the financial backing to carry on, then by all means do your best to follow your dream.
No, for sure. And I mean, which course do you think you're most looking forward to getting back to, either because you played well there last year or because you feel like you've sort of got a score to settle or whatever?
I'm looking forward to going back to Kenya. What a track that is. You got to really think around that course. It's like it's similar to say a Killarney or a Gary Player sort of vibe. You got to really place the ball on the fairways and on the greens especially, because the rough there gets really thick. Another event I can't wait to play is Sun City again. I love the whole vibe there. It's a lovely vibe at Sun City. You know, the golf course there is unbelievable. The greens there are incredible, and it's nice. You know, you can meet up with your mates after a round, go for a lovely dinner, or just it's a lack of vibe there at Sun City, as you know.
Yeah, well, now it's going to be a socially distant dinner. It's going to be quite weird.
I didn't think of that.
It's going to be weird to see what things look like on tour once things do get going again. But do you find yourself, like when you play Sun City, do you find yourself sort of like remembering things or spots that guys have been in? Like, I don't know if you maybe watched Westwood shoot 62 there in I think it was 2011, and you like find yourself thinking back to moments from the Nedbank that you remember?
I don't necessarily go back to moments that I remember, but after seeing guys hit so many good shots around that track, I feel like I see the course, the way that they do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I pull the clubs and I hit the shots that they do.
Sure.
From watching them, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's what I've learned from going and watching the guys over the years. But otherwise, no, I like to just go play the course.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, would you mind sort of providing a bit of insight into the type of player that you are, for people that aren't really aware of like the strengths of your game and what your game is sort of built around?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm quite conservative off the tee, and the whole of last year I was playing conservatively off the tee box and trying to really place myself in areas that I think will be the best place to attack the green or attack a flag. But there might be a bit of a strategy change this year. I mean, looking at how guys are playing and the way they're adjusting their game is incredible. I mean, Oaks are just bombing driver everywhere and chipping it on, So
yeah,
I think if you can't beat them, you got to join them, and they're beating us, so we got to join them.
Are you in the last couple of weeks? Obviously, we've seen what DeChambeau's been doing on the US tour. Do you have any temptation to go that route and just bulk up and hit the ball 340 yards?
First of all, I try bulk up, but I can never get it right. I eat like 12 meals a day, but I don't pick up any weight. I still weigh 67 flat, and that's about, I think, the highest I'm going to get until I've reached probably middle-age spread. Then I'll probably go to about 80, like my dad. But otherwise, nah. I don't know. That's a lot of hard work and effort that Bryson's put into his game, and the way that he's striking the ball is another animal. But I think I hit the ball plenty far enough to compete.
But it's also, I don't know if the way he's doing things, I don't know if that's sustainable in the long run. Hey, I mean,
you never know. I mean, that guy he's thought about everything. I guarantee he's thought about every single thing that could go wrong. So I think he'll manage it correctly, and who knows, maybe he'll get injured or not. But I think he's a good player at the end of the day, so he'll always find a way to shoot the scores, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. But you've been super generous with your time, and obviously we've you've got load shedding coming up fairly soon. So I'll just quickly give you a few quick fire questions, and then we'll let you get on with your load shedding for the next, whatever it is, 2 hours.
All right.
Always a vibe. So I try and let people like into who the players are as people. So I think a good question would be, do you have like a go-to meal that you actually wait, we've got a comment from Mr. Naidu again. Pound for pound, you're the longest oak on tour. 100%. That's pretty cool of him to.
Thank you, Dick.
Yeah, so I think a good starting point would be, do you have like a go-to meal in the morning that you found is like the best way to start the day?
No go-to meal, eh? It's either toast with bovril, toast with peanut butter, fried eggs on toast. You know, there's no set meal. It's just whatever I feel like I'll have in the morning before I go out and play. Sometimes pack a lunch for myself because you know it can get pretty costly buying lunch every day, like $200 a day. It's madness, you know.
Yeah.
So no, there's nothing specific, nothing at all.
And favorite Netflix series that you're either watching or have watched?
The only series I have watched is a series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh, jeez, that's absolute chaos.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. I haven't watched any others, but that's the only one I've watched, and I really enjoyed it. I like watching reality stuff, like and shows, like let's say a cooking show, a baking show. You know, that sort of stuff. That's fun. But no series for me, except for that series of Unfortunate Events. And American Horror Story is pretty good as well, but I watched that a few years ago. That's
super interesting. I think you're the first 22-year-old or whatever that I've ever met who doesn't watch series. It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, I
don't. and if you could take one part of another player's game and sort of make it your own, who would you take it from, and what aspect would that be?
One part of another player's game. That's a hard question. Let's see, maybe Phil Mickelson's short game.
Yeah, that's I suppose that's sort of like a double-edged sword, because he's wild around the greens, but then he like misses way too many 3-footers. Like he misses quite a few, he just rabs them past, and that's a bit concerning. Yeah, and in terms of like when a draw comes out for an event, who do you get most amped to play with?
Yes, see, that's a hard question. I don't really get amped to play with anyone. I just get amped to play the course and to try compete and beat everyone. You know, that's what I get amped for. I don't necessarily get amped to play with other players.
You know, I actually so I interviewed David Frost yesterday, who I think he won 10 times on the PGA Tour, whatever, and that interview is coming out next week. But he actually said the exact same thing. And at the time, I was like, well, that's quite an interesting stance to take. But there, you've taken it as well. It's clearly that's.
I thoroughly enjoy getting out there with my caddy. You know, having a couple chats on the course and hitting some quality shots. You know, that's what I'm there for. I'm really, you know, if no one was playing with me, I'd be happy as well. You know, it's not like I'm there just to play with other guys. I really enjoy just playing the game by myself with my caddy and hitting some good shots.
Yeah. And finally, if you could pick an event to have as your first win, which would it be?
On the Sunshine Tour?
Yeah.
Mauritius, Afro-Asia Bank Open.
Oh, and that's also quite sick. So it would come with the 2-year exemption on the Euro
Tour. Yeah, that would just be the best. That would be ideal win, number one.
Yeah, 100%. Cool, dude. But now we come to the shameless self-promotion part of the podcast. Would you mind just sort of telling people where they can follow you on social media and sort of track your journey a bit?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. On Instagram, I think my handle is Carl Barker 7. That's my name.
Guys, you've got to give him a follow. He posts the funniest videos. That video I posted yesterday was, that was quality. But obviously we were quite deep into lockdown then, so it's understandable that the boredom levels reached that high. And yeah, guys, I'm just no, go for it, dude. What are you going to say?
And Facebook as well. I think I've got a golf page as well on Facebook, Carl Barker. So if you want to have a look at that as well, that's on Facebook.
Yeah, that's epic. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, I'm just super keen to try and tell as many of the Sunshine Tour players' stories as possible. We've also got a Women Wednesday segment, which is also quite a vibe. We've interviewed Ivana Samu, Cara Gole, Nicole Garcia, quite a few of the ladies as well. So give us a follow on social media at FreeDropBlog on Facebook and at FreeDrop_podcast on Instagram. Just very keen to try and get stories like Kyle's out there as far as possible, because I think everyone's got such a unique story to tell. And the more people that hear stories like your own, Kyle, is very cool.
I 100% agree with you, and thanks so much for having me on the show to share my story. There's a lot more that goes into it, but maybe we can have another discussion another day and 100%. Go more in depth.
100%. When load shedding isn't a thing, we need to plan around load shedding, and then we can definitely
this country needs to do a lot of work, seriously.
Dude, we might need to edit that part out. If you want any sponsors anytime soon. I don't think Eskom are going to come knocking and being like, we want to pay you X amount of money to have our branding on your bag. I think that's going to happen anytime soon. But dude, this was a ton of fun, and we'll definitely do it again soon, and hopefully after your first win, and again, hopefully that happens this year rather than in your third season, because everything comes in threes with you. But 100%. Really wishing you the best of luck for the year, and we'll chat again soon.
Craig, thank you so much, bud. Thanks very much.
Cheers,
chat soon. Ciao,
Cheers,
bye.
Bye.